For the longest time, I have seen faces in situations where there is, in fact, no face. Bags, plug sockets, buildings, cars. Cars is a big one for me. Whenever I see a car, I like to play this game where I try to imagine what kind of personality or voice it may have based on the sort of expression in the headlamps and front of car area, which I realize as I'm saying out loud sounds ridiculous, but it's not. It's not. About a year ago, I discovered that the thing I'm describing is an actual thing, and there's a name for it, and I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting, I'd like to make a video about that, but then I forgot the name of it, and then I forgot that I wanted to make a video about it, so I didn't, but now I am. So, unimportant. Let's... Paradolia. Ooh, Paradolia. Doesn't it just sound exquisite? Paradolia is the tendency for incorrect perception of a stimulus as an object, pattern, or meaning known to the observer. So basically seeing an object and getting a strong visual sense of something else from that thing. For example, if I show you this toaster, do you see just that? Do you see a toaster? Or do you see a surprise shrugging robot? Or Brum? Or Nunu from the Teletubbies staring at you with its unforgiving eyes piercing your soul saying, hey, why don't we try sticking the toast inside you for once? As an example. There are too many stories to count linking pareidolia sightings to religious experiences. Diane from Florida sold a 10-year-old grilled cheese for $28,000 because somehow the Virgin Mary's image had appeared on the toast. Good for you, Diane. Good for you. It's funny, just the other day I was sitting in my workshop looking out into the garden and I saw what looked like a goose head coming out of this metal incinerator drum we have in the garden. We were doing some gardening, please ignore the mess. And in my head I knew that this was just a large branch, but I couldn't stop seeing it as a goose head. Not a particularly religious experience, but untitled Goose Game, more like Goose's head sticking out of an incinerator, but actually it's just a branch game. Not the best title in the world, but it is a title. Untitled Goose Game. Name your freaking game already. If you're wondering if you've ever experienced pareidolia before, think back to the days of being a kid laying in the field on your school lunch break, staring up at the clouds. I used to love doing that, trying to pick out which ones look like Bowser or Charizard. It's funny, it's like the brain is seeing what it wants you to see, because it's a funny coincidence that at the height of me loving collecting Pokemon cards and desperately wanting a Charizard, that I was even seeing Charizard in the clouds. So, why is this a thing? Why are we seeing faces and other objects within other objects? I've been reading a bunch of different theories and studies, and apparently we have a whole section of our brain dedicated to perceiving faces. It's called the fusiform gyrus, because of course it is. And so neuroscientists who have done countless studies specifically on pareidolia have come up with several different theories as to why this is a thing. Some studies have shown that it comes from our more primal instincts. For example, it's a part of our brain that we would have utilized back in the day as a survival technique. Hey Lester, have you noticed that bush over there? It looks a lot like a tiger. You know what, Sylvester? Yes, I did. Whether the bush turned out to be a bush or a tiger, we will never know. However, the one hot take on pareidolia that I'm interested in looking at today is the one by your boy Da Vinci himself, who said this: if you look at any walls spotted with various stains or with a mixture of different kinds of stones, if you're about to invent some scene, you will be able to see it in a resemblance to various different landscapes, adorned with mountains, rivers, rocks, trees, plains, wide valleys, and various groups of hills. What he's saying is that you can draw inspiration from seeing unusual patterns and shapes in these places and objects and put that in your art. A while ago, I actually found a subreddit dedicated to this, and I thought it could be fun to take a look into what some people have already done and then have a crack at it myself. I want to see how strong my pareidolia eyes are. So let's take a look. So I like the duct tape one. I like what's going on here. The one that my eyes are instantly drawn to is the tree. I'm seeing the tree the strongest. This Mr. Brabble artist has done a bunch of these. I love this one. Look at the Doritos. I can see the rat so clearly. If you just showed me the Doritos by themselves, would I see the rat? It's hard to know. This is why I gotta try it myself. I really love this one, again, by Mr. Brabble. I think out of all of these, the man with the bushy eyebrows definitely jumps out at me first. There's a little dog within the dog. That is very cute. 2 dogs for the price of 1. Love it. I've actually seen this before. I really love how buff these dog's look. Is this a dog or a fox? Isn't this just like a Pokemon? Isn't this just Incineroar? I love that they've turned its tail into a fist swipe attack. Unique bald eagle on branch, collector's item, flaming hot Cheeto. $1,000? I mean, yeah, it looks a little bit like an eagle on a branch, but I'm not spending $1,000 on a Cheeto. Okay, this subreddit is actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. But I think I got the idea. I think I know where to go from here. So the next stage is to put together something to inspire some artwork to the workshop. So I've got my paint splodge inspiration. What do I think? Well, it's definitely splodgy, definitely very splodgy. Is anything immediately jumping out at me? Any shapes? This definitely looks like a couple of eyes to me. It looks kind of like maybe a wispy-bodied creature with a large head of hair, and it might even be holding a paintbrush. This here looks like a paintbrush, so it might be wielding a little paintbrush. There's a little dinosaur boy! Oh my god, there's a little dinosaur boy. Look at that. Upside down, I'm seeing like a crow head over here. Eye and big beak. I'm definitely seeing like a weird little face here. Oh, kill me! There's a little palm tree up here. Look at that. Little palm tree. It's a beautiful little accident. But other than that, I think I'm just gonna have to start drawing and see what happens. So I'm gonna throw it over to KickThePj to finish this story for us. Hi there, KickThePj here, you may have heard of me. I am here to talk to you about the creative process behind this artwork. So it's taken me a couple of days to get it to a position where I'm like kind of happy with it. I started by just doing some very, very basic rough line work. I had a couple of goes at drawing around the general shape of the paint to sort of get a feeling for what it was I had to work with. And I'm not gonna lie, this was really tricky. I didn't immediately see a man drinking soup or a dog doing a somersault. I could see lots of little things like a crow here and a dinosaur there and a paintbrush here and whatever. But no matter which way I rotated it, I couldn't quite see one big piece. So I went down a slightly more comfortable route for myself, which is drawing some made-up imaginary fantasy creature. And for me, that creature was gonna be this woodland kind of forest spirit wizard, someone who can command magical bird-like beings. It has all these exotic birds living within its nest-like hair. And I wanted the hair to be big and bushy, which was fairly straightforward given my big splodgy paint that I had to work with. But I really wanted to concentrate on getting a face and a body, and naturally it looked like to me that the person was making this sort of pose. He was using his paintbrush magic wand to defeat the powers of evil. The powers of evil in my mind are the dinosaurs. He's trying to send the dinosaurs back in time because they threatened to destroy his forest. So I drew my little dinosaur boy. I think there's like a shark and a whale, which I guess aren't exactly prehistoric, but kind of fit into the framework of dinosaur world. Really stretching here to make this make sense. So I think it took about 3, 4, maybe even 5 attempts at doing this line art to figure out what the outline of this being was, because I kept sort of relying too much on the blobby nature of the paint to be, oh, it's just bushes, where it kind of defeats the purpose of it being a little bit more imaginative. So I would erase parts and be like, no, this is not a bush, this is a bird of some kind, let's turn it into a bird. So we have a crow with a little hat doing this, so I can maybe draw one bird with a big long beaky face, and I just kept playing around with it until it started to take shape as something, some wispy wizard of some kind. I was very careless with my coloring. I wanted to give it some texture as well, so I used this very pulpy, watercolory type of brush. I thought that made it look kind of interesting. I tried to stick with a very certain spectrum of colors as well. Some greens, blues, purples, a bit of brown here and there. And I think I only really started to like it towards the very end of the drawing process. I think I'm just like overly critical of everything I do, and I was just like hating it every moment until I sort of got towards the end when I started flicking between the paint and the drawing and the paint and the drawing, and I could look at the paint and be like, oh hey, this is what I had in my mind. I'm seeing the birds and I'm seeing the paintbrush. And so I kept layering up colors until finally I got it to a position where I was actually quite happy with it. And in the end, I thought it would be quite cool to just leave the paint layer underneath it. So here is my paint splodge, here is my artwork, and here is the final piece, my little foresty wizard dude with all of his lovely exotic birds. I'm happy with it. I think it worked out kind of cool. I would love if any artists watching this took my original paint splodge, which was this, and rotate it, flip it however you want, and see if anything jumps out at you. If you do draw anything off of this, please do tweet it to me. I'd love to see what your brains happen to pick up. Maybe I missed something really obvious, or maybe it's just unworkable paint. And whilst it is one of the trickier art-themed challenges I've done, I really enjoyed it and I'm glad I did it, and I would definitely like to try it again. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's horrible. It is just okay. Well, thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you happen to be new to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you get updates of when I upload videos. But if you want to give this a go yourself, please do. And if you've got any other specific art-themed challenges you'd like to see me have a crack at, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. All right, stay rad, everybody. Stay safe. Keep looking for faces in mysterious places, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.